Mr. Chairman, your committee is live.
Roll call.
Senator Driscoll.
Excused.
Senator French.
Here.
Senator Garou.
Here.
Senator Larson.
Here.
And Chairman Salzar.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Great, thank you. So the first item is Senate File 12, Wyoming National Guard Reenlistment Bonus Program. And my pleasure to have Major General Porter here. General, I will give you the floor and go to it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it very much. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Senator Pappas, who is the chairman of the the Senate Transportation and Military Affairs Committee's got a committee meeting today and could not make it. So he sends his apologies and would just like to express his support for the bill. Sir, if I could, you would indulge me, I just kind of would like to set the stage for both of these bills in terms of the priority. So in strength, achieving our in strength and cohesive team is the only priority of the military department. And right now, our goal is to be at 102%. We think we're going to have to be at 102% to do the things that the nation and the state asks of us. Right now, currently, the Wyoming Army National Guard sits at about 97%. But that's going to change pretty quickly. We're getting an additional force structure coming into the state. So in about 7 months, we're going to get another HIMARS rocket battery into the state, which is going to drive our force structure up. It'll immediately take us to about 93%. At the same time, we just deployed about 500 personnel out of the Army Guard this last year. The 115th Field Artillery Brigade and the 2nd of the 300th Field Artillery Battalion both deployed to Central Command. Now that they've returned, we generally see a little uptick in attrition out of those units because folks have come back and said, hey, listen, I was gone for a year. I appreciate what the state and nation's done for me, but I want to focus on some other things. So we generally see an increase of attrition after deployments like that. On the Air Guard side, Air Guard sits at about 93% right now, and it's been pretty steady. But they are also going to experience a deployment coming up here in about 7 months as well. We'll send 4 tails, C-130 tails overseas in a deployment. And they too also experience the same attrition. So right now at 93%, we're already about 85 airmen below where we need to be. And we need to get that up to 102%. So those are the realities of what's going on right now. If you factor in a couple of things that are going on in terms of the overall strength, competition is high out there right now. Our states to our north in Montana and state to our south, Colorado, they offer a $1,000 referral bonus right now. We currently sit at $500. The Air Guard is particularly affected by that because we actually get a lot of folks from Colorado in the Front Range area. So we'd like to be able to compete along those lines. 17 states have referral bonus programs. Of those 17, Wyoming and Washington are the lowest at 500. Ohio, Delaware have 2,000, but we're trying to get there right in the middle at 1,000. Our recruited population continues to drop. I think I'd say nothing that's new to you. Probably Wyoming hit our highest level of high school graduates at about 6,000 this last year. If the trend continues, we're going to see about a 25% drop by 2041 to about 4,000. That's tough for us to get at. So we really are looking to keep the most talented that we have in our formations, but also we need to generate more fishermen out there to attract more folks to assess into the organization. You know, sir, and I think this is nothing new to any of you. If we have a conflict, when we have a conflict with a major state actor, China, Russia, North Korea, they're going to attack us in the homeland. We do a lot of things right now for the state in terms of flood and fire response, search and rescue, those kinds of things. But it's going to be even more important if they come after us in the homeland, and I think they will have to do that. So having these 102%, having these large units is critical to us, and it's just a tough environment out there. So, sir, I think I'll just leave those opening comments as they sit right now, unless I have questions from you and the rest of the committee, and we can continue with 12 and 13, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, we talked about it when I come over. You were so kind, you and your staff, to put up with me for an hour. Does this apply to everybody? Say somebody enlisted a year ago, or somebody's been in there 15, 20 years, whatever. Does it apply to everybody? Or how are you looking at that, sir?
Mr. Chairman, Senator French, I'm going to make an assumption that you're referring to the enlistment bonus in this particular case, Senate 512. And so it would apply to those people that have gotten their first term out of the first 6 years. That's our primary focus. But we could also apply it if we had somebody that's got a particular set of skills and a particular job that's hard to recruit. If they were on their second or third enlistment, we could also apply it to them as well. So broadly speaking, it applies to everybody, although I think we're going to be very intentional about where we put those extension bonuses.
Senator Guru?
Just want to thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to question, just make sure, we're on a re-referral here, so we're just doing the monetary, and we're on the bonus bill, so it's just about the $1 million, right? Okay, question. General, good afternoon. Shows up $1 million from the general fund for this purpose. If we do that, is there any federal funds, any other funds from the military side that you might be able to access that this could leverage?
Chairman, Senator Guru, there is quite a few federal funds that go towards expansion bonuses. As we look across the nation right now, the strength is pretty good in the armed forces. So we're already starting to see a decline in incentives to come back, to provide soldiers and airmen. So the intent would not be to couple this so much. If somebody has a pretty good extension bonus, we probably wouldn't augment it, although we could. This is primarily state funds to get after those folks that we want to keep that probably wouldn't extend without this incentive. No, sir, I don't. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's go to some public comment. Anyone have any public comment on this Senate File 12? Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Chairman Salazar, Bill Winnie, Sublette County, spent 30 years active duty in the submarine force. This is an important bill. It enables the general here to tailor his force the way he wants. Not everybody gets the largest amount of dollars. I've seen the Navy over the years struggle with hanging on to good people that are saleable in the civilian market, reactor operators on submarines and on the aircraft carriers. And in the officer realm, they have certain benefits. I benefited from spot promotion when I served as a chief engineer. Consider what they sign up for. The general just talked about 500 people that have been in CENTCOM for a year. There's also things that are very useful to the state, to the governor. The state active duty, not so long ago, we had some flooding in Riverton, and the governor called out some National Guard people to support that. So I support the bill, subject to your questions. Thank you.
You had a question for the general.
I did, yes, please.
Please.
Back to the re-enlistment and extension program we were talking about. Has there been a fund for that before, or is there one currently that we're adding to?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Larson, so for the referral bonus, that is a program that we currently have in statute, and it's funded for the last 2 years, that particular, which is Senate File 13. So that one is $500 that we give, and we've had that for 2 years. It sunsets in June, so really am interested in extending that. The enlistment bonus, the $5,000 enlistment bonus, is a first of its kind for the state of Wyoming as far as I can tell. I have not seen that anywhere. So this is an entirely new idea and a new set of resources to go to that, sir.
Line, but is there anyone here? Okay, maybe we don't. Do we have anyone online? We don't. Okay. I will close public comment. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Second.
Is there a second? Second, okay. Any amendments, comments, anything? We've all read these bills. I think we're pretty familiar with them, so, okay. Roll call.
Roll call vote for Senate File 12. Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Garou.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
And Chairman Salzar.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes to pass.
Okay, thank you. Next is Senate File 13, Wyoming National Guard member referral amendments. General Porter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Probably not much more to add on this, except probably for 2 points. One, just like the referral bonus, this is 2-year. This is through the biennium. So I think it's entirely appropriate for us to come back to you every 2 years and describe how effective this has been for us, whether it's the enlistment bonus or the extension bonus or the referral bonus. Referral bonus has been pretty effective for us. As I said, 17 states have done it already. Most of our neighbors have it. We are the lowest right now, and I think this would be very beneficial for us to stay, to keep pace with the rest of our competition out there. This is the priority to achieve more folks. I think the good thing about this is the more we can get our young men and women tied to Wyoming by staying in the National Guard, even though they may leave the state for a little bit, we still have that tie. You know, we export more of our youth than any other state in the nation to other stuff. This would just be another opportunity for us to get that tie to us, have them still serve the state, even though they may reside outside our borders a little bit. So I think it's certainly worth the investment. The other thing we did was initially we had this at 250,000 because we were trying to get 250. During the committee meeting, it went to 163, which was only the Army's portion of that. I made a mistake in the committee and didn't correct it at the time. I did bring it up in front of Senate Trans and Military Affairs, and they reestablished it to the 250, which is what we really wanted. So that's probably the biggest point I would make to you is that 250 is what it sits at now.
Okay, questions? Any questions? No questions. Senator French?
Clarify that, because the fiscal note, it's 163. So the 250.
250.
Oh, okay, all right.
Senator Garou, did you have? Okay, Senator Larson?
Mr. Chairman, so that amendment will be coming on the floor, or
No, I'm
it's?
gonna bring it right now.
Oh, you're,
I'll wait till we get ready to work the bill.
gotcha.
Okay, anything else, General, before we open public comment? Okay, public comment. Anyone? Please come forward.
Chairman Salazar, Bill Winnie, Sublette County. This is important too. How do we get young people to go into the National Guard? And think about the National Guard itself. They go off onto boot camp, then they go out to some schools, but then they come back to the state. Unlike most other people going into the military who then go on to far reaches of the globe. And so the ability of them to say, hey, to their friends, the high school friends, hey, this is what I saw. And the friends say, well, yeah, you know, but you got to give up some weekends and things like that. I have a son and a daughter-in-law in the Guard, and they have kids, and sometimes it's awkward for them when they end up with both on their weekend duty at the same time. And so there's things you got to work through, and the ability of one of our people in the Guard to say to a guy, you know, this stuff works out. That can bring people in, and I think it's useful. Subject to your questions, thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Other public comment? Is there anyone online? Okay. Well, General, I know the challenges you face. I spent 26 years in that uniform, and it's tough, I know. I'm going to close public comment, and what's the committee's pleasure?
Move the bill. Second.
Second? Okay. Amendments, discussions? Mr. Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to amend to move them out from 163 to 250. So if you go back to the fiscal page, it shows 2728 at 81,500 on two different lines. That would move to 125,000 each. It would bring them to 250 to make them whole for the error or the intentional oversight, whatever it was, but I intend for it to be at 250. I would make that motion.
Is there a second? There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Any other amendments? Any other discussion? Roll call.
Roll call vote on Senate File 13 as amended. Senator Driscoll?
Aye.
Senator French?
Aye.
Senator Guru?
Aye.
Senator Larson?
Aye.
And Chairman Salzar.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have a do pass amended on Senate File 13.
Thank you, General. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Next item on the agenda is Senate File 52, 2026 large project funding. Mr. Chairman, good to have you here. Senator, welcome. Please take it away, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, good
A
to
lot of
see you all.
chairmans here.
We are on a roll, and I hope we can keep it that way. That's awesome. Happy to stop by and present 2026 large project funding, Senate File 52. And Mr. Chairman, a couple of your members are past members of our Wildlife Trust and Natural Resource Trust Select Committee, and so they know fully well what the large project funding bill is. We are happy today to walk as detailed through this bill as you would like, but suffice it to say it's one of the best things we always do, and I'm going to let the director take over from there and tell you a little bit more detail about what these 7 projects are all about. So thank you.
Director, good to have you here.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, members of the committee. I won't go through individually unless you want me to, but just a reminder, this is money that is in the income account. It's not a general fund appropriation. It's money that the board has allocated. It's been through the normal process with the select committee, and they've reviewed all the projects. The short version is that we have a couple of significant water projects, fish passage projects in Park County. There are 3 projects in here that address invasive annual grasses, primarily cheatgrass. That's an ongoing effort that we've had throughout the state. And then there's another that addresses rangeland health in Carbon County, that, again, an ongoing project. But happy to answer any questions specific to any of these, but I think we all know it's the process, and be happy to stand for questions, Mr. Chairman.
Senator French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for coming. On page 4, line
Of the bill.
15, talks about vegetation through mechanical, chemical, and prescribed fire. Can you help me out? Because every time we have a fire, we spend lots of money on trying to fight the cheatgrass. So if there's a prescribed burn, how do you handle the possibility of maybe cheatgrass invasion where you burned? Is my question.
Mr. Chairman, Senator French, that's a great question. That's built into the fire plan. When you develop a fire plan in any area, you have to look at what the potential is for invasion of invasive grasses or other invasives. With most of them, as you know, after a fire, you're going to get those species that come in, and that's natural. We know that's going to happen. But that's built into the budget for that prescribed fire, for that treatment as necessary. In areas where you have a significant outcropping of, let's say, cheatgrass or vent nata or something like that, it may actually end up not allowing the fire to take place because the risk is too high. So there's always a risk assessment, always a plan for how you address that. And if you look at some of the fires we've done recently prescribed, they'll treat right after the burn, let the natives get up and then go ahead and treat for cheatgrass if that is a potential risk. But we don't do a lot of prescribed fire where that risk is high.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to make sure we got this all straight in my head, I'm on the back of page 13 on the fiscal note. It says in the top line, this bill contains an appropriation of $5,045,000 from the Wildlife Natural Resource Trust Income Account. Could you enlighten me and everybody in the room as to exactly where that account came from, how much is in that account today, and how much this $5,045,000 is a part of?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Drew, the way that the program is structured, there is the trust account, which is what generates the revenue that we use to do projects. The income account is the account that we work the projects out of. So there are two separate accounts. Within the income account, there are a number of different sub-accounts, most of which have been created by legislative action. So there's one for invasive annuals. There's one that we have that we retained open for bark beetles. There's one for crossings and migration. Those are there because you specifically allocate money to us for a purpose. So when that's done, we segregate that money. It isn't mixed with the revenue coming off of the trust account. Today in the income account, unobligated, there's about $20 million. The rest that's in there, if you call and ask for the balance, I think the balance is 90-some million. That's all obligated. There's 49 million of that was allocated by you last year to address the fires in northeast Wyoming. That money is all obligated, but it hasn't all been spent. So it sits there in cash until we pay it, but it's contractually obligated. Did that answer your question, sir?
Partially. I just wanted to make sure that this comes from a trust, the majority of it all comes from a trust account.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Drew, yes, the only thing that would not come out of the trust earnings is the ones that are in the budget this year, if that were to pass.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I see that they aren't equal in the 2 years. Can you explain that? I think you're showing 650 in payments in 2026 and like 4 million something in 2027.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Larson, most of these projects take place over a period of years. Usually, if you look at the fiscal note when we bring the bill, the first year is much less than the second. And it's because by the time we get this done, by the time you finish, these are approved, we write the contracts and get them out there, there's only half a year left to implement the project. So as an example, if you look at the Cody Canal project, it's unlikely we'll get anything done on that project in 2026. It'll all happen in 27. So it's almost always weighted heavily toward the second year of the biennium.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I meant to pass along regrets from Chairman Crago, who is the chairman of our select committee, and maybe he's behind me now, but he was presenting other bills, and now that he's here, he may have a comment or two that he would like to make, so I'll turn it over to him. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, there is nothing I could add that would top what these two have already said, and I didn't even hear it. So, thank you.
Roll call vote on Senate File 52. Senator Driscoll? Aye. Senator French?
Aye.
Senator Guru?
Aye.
Senator Larson?
Aye.
And Chairman Salzar. Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes, do pass.
Okay, sounds good. certainly have backup here, we probably need it, we'll see what happens. But this is a Select Water Committee bill that basically tries to get our municipalities up to speed, understanding the need for replacing water infrastructure. Perhaps you'll recall a few years ago, we did a similar study for agriculture-related infrastructure. This is trying to get our municipalities up to speed. One of the strengths of our water program is it helps out everybody, and so I think this is just another step in that plan to begin to assess what the needs are, and by all accounts, they seem to be significant. So as it currently stands, we have the ability to use the revolving fund for drinking water. This basically funds the sewer and storm drain infrastructure as well. And so OSLI and the Water Development Office, as well as DEQ, have been working together to begin to develop this information. There's a pilot program with about 6 communities of various sizes currently participating. This will help continue the study up until 2030. And so I suppose the reason why we're here is there's $8 million appropriated currently. Highlight that right now it's coming from SIPA. I trust you all to know better whether that's the best route to take or whether it should be general fund. I'll admit to being a little confused as to what the status of the SIPA account is, but I certainly defer to the community's expertise on that regard. So certainly want to highlight that. But that's the basic idea. It's going to be a 4-year study assessing the infrastructure that's currently in the ground for our municipalities down to the valve. And once we do that, I think that'll really help, given the role that the state plays in funding this infrastructure through MRG grants, for example, to have an apples-to-apples comparison instead of everybody just kind of doing their own thing. So that's all it does, provides information. Obviously, our municipalities and local entities are still very much responsible for their infrastructure. This doesn't change that. It just provides them information. And I think it's an appropriate role for state government to provide this basic, to help municipalities and local governments provide for this very basic function of government. So. It funds the study for wastewater and storm water, because that's what we came up with based off the current work and extrapolating out to all local governments. So using the pilot program, and there's folks here who can go into more detail as to how they came up to that. It actually used to be quite a bit higher. Yeah, it's mostly for the study, but there's also an ongoing subscription to the software used to analyze the data. Yeah, it's going to be going through every last local entity and understanding exactly what they have for their water infrastructure. So it's a significant lift.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So there was a pilot program that they did do. Did they finish those certain cities they were working with and they're covered, and now this is the additionals?
I'd have to check and phone a friend to see the exact status of the current pilot program, whether it's finished or not. Certainly it's in progress. I'm not sure if they've got it wrapped up at this point, but it has been ongoing over the past year.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'll wait for the agency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, can you expand on it a little bit? I mean, they're going to go to each city and town, and are they going to, I'm just unclear exactly what they're going to do. Are they going to factor in maybe a 50-year, 100-year thunderstorm event, that the effect it has? Many of the towns have valleys in them or grade to them. A town like Powell's pretty well flat. What exactly are they going to do? I mean, are they going to say, well, town A, your wastewater piping looks like it may be undersized if you're going to grow, if you're going to double in population? I'm a little confused, I guess, if you could help me out.
Yeah, it's simply assessing what is currently in the ground, what the current infrastructure is, and it's just going to be a factual description of what is currently being utilized. And so there's no projections for growth. Certainly you can use that information to make those decisions, but this is simply gathering information as to what the current status is.
Mr. Chairman, Jennifer Zigmant, I am the Water Quality Division Administrator at the Wyoming DEQ. Pleased to be here today to see if I can help answer some of these questions. So to start with Senator French's question about what this will cover, this is what we call asset management planning. Simply put, what assets does a community have and what condition are they in? It's a really important step toward solving Wyoming's infrastructure challenges. We don't have a comprehensive database of what we have in the state and what condition it's in. And particularly our small communities are challenged with tracking that information over time due to frequent turnover. I think you know the local elected officials in those towns wear multiple hats, and it's often difficult for them to track this information. What we are piloting is an online GIS-based platform that is used to spatially map all of the infrastructure that a community has for drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater, and then it tracks what condition it's in. So each community can see their dashboard of what infrastructure they have, and then the state agencies can see a statewide dashboard so we can see where are all of the critical assets in the state, what might be close to life expectancy, what might be close to failing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for coming. I'll just use our northern Bighorn Basin as an example. At least 40 years ago, or maybe longer, they did the Northwest Rural Water. Then it comes out of Buffalo Bill Reservoir to a treatment plant on the edge of Cody. Then it runs clear to Level, down through Powell and branch lines and everything. So are they going to run scopes down in that pipe, or how are they going to assess this? That system's in good shape. It's whatever, 40, 50 years old. We've looked at the piping on it, so the communities know, and the state knows, oh boy, this is, in a few years, this is going to be an aging infrastructure thing.
Mr. Chairman, what this contractor will start with doing and what they've done in our pilot study is going to each community and sitting down with the community and first reviewing all of the records that they have. And that can include local records. It can include things like if a community has a water development funded study, that's going to just give them, an advance in terms of the information they have to put into this platform. So it's largely records-based at this point, compiling what we know, and then over time, as a city fixes infrastructure and they tear up a street to replace a pipe, they can visually confirm what they have and just add to that information over time. What is really good about the system that we are piloting and hope to use for the rest of the study is that it's not a piece of paper that gets put on a shelf and can quickly become outdated. It's online. Again, the funds from this study would pay for the initial planning effort. Funds from the state revolving fund could be used to pay for subscriptions over time. So the community's skin in the game is their commitment to use the system and update it over time as new information becomes available. But it allows them to track assets down to the detail that they want to track: pipes, valves, tanks, you name it. Again, it tracks the condition, life expectancy, costs, and one of the most important functions is allows them to plan financial scenarios. Based on their budget, can they tackle the cost of what it will take to maintain this infrastructure over time, and then plan for growth if a community's experiencing growth?
Yes, thank you. I think I might have heard you say that they really aren't potholing everything. They're just going off of records?
Mr. Chairman, that is correct at this point. As the contractor goes into each community, if that community has the resources to do some potholing while the contractor is out there, we can certainly do that. But at this point, no, the goal is not to do a visual inspection of every single asset. It's to rely on records, visual confirmation when we can, but it is starting with records-based compilation.
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned there's a GIS platform, so who will be holding title to that? And I guess, is it, and then also, how's the future going to be, who's going to pay for it annually? Is that coming out of DEQ, or is the state going to have to be finding more money?
Mr. Chairman, so this GIS-based platform is a software, an online software program that the contractor offers. Again, we've piloted this platform with 6 communities. We would go through the procurement process, select a final contractor to do the statewide study. But that's the idea, is that the contractor would hold license to this platform, and then we would pay for subscriptions. We have looked into and confirmed that the state revolving funds can be used to pay for subscriptions over time. So again, what the communities would contribute is just their staff resources to put information into the system and maintain it.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, so I'm not quite hearing maybe what I want to hear. I'm worried about in the future, how are we going to pay for the software updates or the prescription or subscriptions?
Mr. Chairman, we've estimated, and to speak to your earlier question briefly, the costs, the $8 million cost that you see in this bill is based on the pilot study that the contractor did and extrapolating out what it will take to do all of the communities in the state. For that pilot, we chose a variety of communities, very small water districts up to more populated communities, so that we'd have a wide variety so that we could get a fairly accurate cost estimate. What those estimates came out to would be $8 million to do drinking water, and we have funds, as Senator Boner said, through the Drinking Water SRF program to handle that. What this bill does is fills the gap so that we have funding to do the wastewater side of it, which is estimated at $6 million, and stormwater at $2 million. So that's the one-time planning cost to get each community set up with an online digital plan. And then we estimate that statewide annual subscriptions from there on out would be about $250,000 per year. And again, the state agencies believe that can be, or have confirmed that we can pay for that out of the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund administrative funds. So again, the state through SRF would pay for the subscription costs over time. So the communities would not be paying for subscription costs over time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How long are these studies? Because the state does all kinds of studies for all kinds of agencies. How long is a comprehensive study like this? It's done in what, 4 years, 2030, or I think I read. How long is that really in effect? Because the infrastructure and everything is suddenly another 4 or 5 years older by the time the study's done. So how long do you think something like this is good? Is it good for 10 years, 20, or 10, and we got to do it again? What's your thoughts on that?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the question. That's a very good question. The 4 years contemplated in the bill is what we believe it will take for one contractor to go to each community to do this planning. So it's not going to take 4 years for every community to have a plan. It's just going to take us 4 years to work our way through all of the community. The pilot study that we did was about 8 months to a year, I believe, to do 6 months. If we hired one contractor to do the whole state, they would have to schedule it out so that they could achieve helping all of the communities in 4 years. But again, what we are really excited about with this online platform is that those plans don't go out of date. They can be indefinitely up to date as long as the community puts in information. Say if they replace a pipe, then they update the system with new information. What did that pipe cost? What is its life expectancy? So again, compared to the concern that we had if we did these with paper plans and they get put on a shelf, when then we risk them becoming out of date very quickly and having to incur more expenses to update them. But the beauty of this system, or using an online digital system, is that they can be updated over time and remain in effect indefinitely.
Thank you. Further questions? Senator Larson.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I got another question. I'm worried about the future, and I guess one of my questions is there going to be training for the smaller cities that might not have a GIS person that knows how to enter that stuff? I did it for a while in the state engineer's office. It's not easy. So I'm worried that the very small ones are going to have troubles getting it entered.
Mr. Chairman, another great question. And again, I know enough about GIS to be dangerous in terms of inputting data into the system. But again, this is a platform where the user interface is pretty intuitive. And the company, as it goes to these communities, would train them on how to enter that data. So you don't need to have an extensive GIS background, but there's basically like a data entry form that somebody would fill out, and then the GIS is handled behind the scenes.
Thank you. Further questions, committee? Further questions? Any further comments, Senator Boner? Chairman Boner? Thank you. We'll go to public comment. Do we have any public comment? Welcome. Kelly?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Kelly Little. I'm with the Associated General Contractors of Wyoming. AGC of Wyoming stands in support of this bill, and we believe that this study and the data that it will provide will allow future road, bridge, street, and underground utility projects to be completed with more accurate design, fewer change orders, reduced damage to the infrastructure, quicker completion of projects, and ultimately saved taxpayer dollars. We see this effort as a benefit to our local governments and other entities that are completing these future construction projects. And with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you, Ms. Little. Questions for Ms. Little? Seeing none, thank you very much. Proceed.
Committee members, my name is Beth Blackwell. I'm the Grant and Loan Specialist for the City of Newcastle. I come to testify in favor of this bill. This is something that has needed to be done a long time ago in our state. Many of you know my prior life, I served as a grant and loan manager for the Office of State Lands and Investments. In that role, I was tasked with awarding mineral royalty grant funding as well as the ARPA funds. Having these types of studies at that time when awarding those fundings would be a great benefit. You put all of your applications on the same playing field. You get to be able to look and see that, make sure those limited grant funds are going to needed projects, the needed projects and not wanted projects. You're making sure that those grant funds are going to the priority projects that are going to make a big difference. Not only does this $8 million help our communities, it's an investment in our state. It's an investment in the tourist industry as well, because our small communities is why people come to Wyoming. If we're not able to provide them clean drinking water and deal with the wastewater and stormwater, our tourist industry will be impacted. A few things I wrote down. Wyoming would be the first state to do this. This would be such a high bar to set for other states to try to strive to be like Wyoming. We might be the least populated. However, the people who run the SRF programs are tenacious. They're scrappy. They're thinking outside the box. They're trying to help the communities in every possible way that they can do. And by doing these studies, it helps provide their administration, their communities, a roadmap of what needs to be done. So when you get a new mayor, you get a new council, you already have the roadmap of what needs to be done in your community. You already know the status of your infrastructure. So when you go to apply for funding, you know what you need to ask for. When you're hiring an engineer, you know what project needs to be done and you know what needs to be done. And so you are not sometimes at the whim of a consulting engineer who, at that time when they're consulting you, they're going to tell you what you want to hear to get your business. This money ensures that we're planning for the future. As the saying goes, failing to plan is planning to fail. This is a huge plan for our state, and I think this is a huge measure to make sure that our small rural communities stay successful and our state stays successful. The last thing that I would say is many communities just don't know and don't want to know. It's easier to put your head in the sand and not understand what's happening with your infrastructure. But how many Rollins, how many 100-year wooden pipes do we have around our state that are just waiting to have that major failure? I don't think Wyoming wants any of our communities to ever be on the front page of a paper like Flint, Michigan. And so this study is a huge step to making sure that our water is safe to drink, our wastewater and stormwater are handled appropriately, and that our state is set up for success. I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Blackwell. Questions for Ms. Blackwell? Thank you. I want to thank you for your past life. The ARPA funding, handling, and your grants was second to none. You did a phenomenal job, and we thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, sir. That job was very much an honor to have, and those tasks were an honor to perform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further public comment? Further public comment? Public comment is closed. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure? Oh, do we have anybody online? Okay, no one online. Bill's been moved.
A second.
And seconded. Discussion on the bill. Senator Drew.
Thanks. Just on 4, on the appropriation, but as someone who's just like the rest of you, sat here and approved studies and then have them sit on a shelf somewhere and not go anywhere, I would ask, and I know my friends at Water Development, and I know the committee, they're all over this, and Ms. Blackwell, I know you've forgotten more about this than I'll ever know, but what I'm hoping is that, and maybe we talk about this as an interim topic for select water, but how we take this study and then instead of it going on a shelf, that we convert it into an action plan where we literally take the results of the study and then put it into an action plan and fund it and work with our friends at OSLI, I see you in the back, and so we can help and say, look, the study shows this, this, and this, and we're gonna fund these projects, and we'll be expecting OSLI to come forward, and and then it'll be upon, there'll be rules and things, and I know some communities will buck a little bit on that, but I really think that, this is one of those things, if this ends up sitting on a shelf somewhere and we end up not funding it, it'll be a failure, and it'll be a failure on us. So on and 4. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Further comments? Comments? Question being called. Senator Boner? Chairman Boner, excuse me.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, not to belabor it, but I just noticed in the budget that currently we're scheduled to move all money from SIPA to the general fund. So just highlight that again. I'm not sure if this is effective July 1st. How does that work? I just don't know. So,
Senator Drew.
I'd like to make an amendment at this time that we amend it, change from the SIPA to the general fund.
Thank you. Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Amendments passed. Any further amendments? Seeing none. Roll.
Roll call vote for Senate File 69 as amended. Senator Driscoll?
Aye.
Senator French?
Aye.
Senator Guru?
Aye.
Senator Larson?
Aye.
Chairman Salzar? Aye. Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes, do pass amended.
Next item is Senate File 70, Omnibus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Jason Mead, Director of the Water Development Office. Looks like about 80% of the committee here has been on the Select Water Committee or are currently on the Select Water Committee. So you're well aware of the process and the consideration that's gone into the construction bill as well as our planning bill, which hopefully you'll see next week sometime. Not only through the commission, the Select Water Committee, our office, as well as the studies that have gone into making sure we're funding good construction projects. So really just want to point out, bring this big binder in front of you every year. Consider it a resource for when you're on the floor. So if you'd open up right inside the front page here, there is a 11x17 blue sheet that is basically a summary of the entire bill, which I'll come back to that in just a second. About 2 pages past that is the fiscal note associated with the bill, and then the actual bill itself, which is 61 pages. So I will not go through that page by page. Under tab A is just a 2-page description of our program in case anybody asks questions during the session. It's a good resource. And then under tab B are our 3 water development account balances as they sat before we started considering all the planning applications and the construction applications that we received this year. So just wanted to point that out, and then again would refer you back to the blue sheet, and I will run through this very quickly. The way this is set up again is, I should mention, after tab B, you have a bunch of tabs after that, and those are actual tabs for each one of the projects within the construction bill and the recommendations that were considered by the Water Development Commission and the Select Water Committee. So as you look at that blue sheet, the first column is the tab under each one of the tab which each one of those projects is located under. We have the bill page, which each one of those projects would be under, then the actual name of the project, the location, which water development account it's being funded from, any terms associated with it, it's a grant or if it's a loan, a short description in the second to last column of each project, and then notes. Anything further, such as if they have loan, what the loan terms might be, and so on and so forth. So I'll go through this very quickly. The first section is for our water development account 1 projects, and these are new projects. We have 3 municipal projects, cloud seeding. We also have a forest management demonstration project and funding for our small water account 1 new development for a total of $5,231,500. The second section of projects there, and I'll refer to the tab where you see tab I in the first column. And these are rehabilitation construction projects, which are projects that are 15 years and older. We have 17 projects plus funding for the rehabilitation small water account, and a total of $22,659,625 for that. You might notice the first one under tab I, if you went all the way over to that right-hand column, it says C Note 1. So what we've been experiencing in the rehab program is we've got more demands than we actually have funding in account 2. So what we've been asking for several years now is a transfer of funds from account 1 to account 2 to help us take care of those demands. So in this particular bill, we're asking for a transfer of $16 million from account 1 to account 2 to do that. And where we see these notes in the right-hand column, those projects are contingent upon that transfer. Continuing down to that next section, which would be our amendments. We have one amendment that has an appropriation associated with it. Again, referring to the tab down on K2. That's the Hoback Junction Public Water System, where they're standing up a new water system. Right now they have wells and yeah. Anyway, so we phased this project. They went through the design, got all their easements in place, and now they're ready to move forward with construction. So this came back to ask for those construction dollars. And then you see in the next section, under section 3, is the actual transfer of funds of the $16 million. And then the last portion is section 4 at the very bottom of that page. And this is a Forest Management Water Research Program study. This is the one, I'll call it, project that is not funded through the mineral severance taxes. This was an amendment brought to the Select Water Committee here in late January. And it's a request for $155 million out of the general fund to really look at trying to update. It's an online platform called OpenET. It looks at evapotranspiration, and it ties back into the forest demonstration project up in this first section here, which is forest management treatments with the, I think, the goal of improving water yield. So with that, I'll stop and answer any questions you guys might have.
Mr. Chairman, I think I heard you say 155 million. I think you meant
sorry.
to say 155,000.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Larson, thank you for that correction.
Yes. Can you explain the cloud seeding funding?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, actually, this is exactly the same way as it came out of last session. So this is the Wind River, Sierra Madre, Colorado River benefiting ground-based program. There will be no state funds associated with it. So it'll basically just give the Water Development Office authorization to complete cloud seeding, not this winter, but next winter. And it'll be our responsibility to go get funding to do that. The way that's worked this year is we were able to get funding from some lower basin states that are also interested in seeing additional water in the Colorado River Basin so we can avoid a curtailment. So there was funding from the Central Arizona Water Conservation District, California 6-Agency Committee, Southern Nevada Water Authority, some funding from the Bureau of Reclamation, and then every year we get some funding from the Cheyenne Board of Public Utilities and the Green River Rock Springs Joint Powers Board. So that's how it was funded this year, and we're anticipating that's how it could be funded again next year. So no state dollars associated with it, just the authorization to complete it.
And they're paying for that because they receive the benefit of what's produced.
Mr. Chairman, if it's not used in Wyoming, then that turns into the Colorado River and runs through 7 other states or 6 other states.
Director, I would request that you send me the list of those who are providing that funding.
Absolutely, I can do that.
Senator French?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just going to ask, you have pretty firm commitments from whoever, Colorado, Arizona, whoever's involved in this cloud seeding to pay their share on a timely manner, not, yeah, we'll pay, and then 3 years later, you're bugging them, hey, geez, you owe us $1 million or whatever. Do you have confidence in that?
Mr. Chairman, I do. Senator French, that's how it's been working for a number of years now, even when the state did have some funding associated with it. Those lower basin states, through a programmatic agreement, we're still providing funding. It's worked very well. It's working very well so far this year as well. So I have a lot of confidence in that moving forward.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Can you give us an update on the Alkali Creek Reservoir and how you're proceeding on maybe, well, hopefully getting the easements?
Sure. So Alkali Creek Reservoir, it's about 50%, 60% designed. We have about a handful, a little bit more landowners that the project needs easements through. Last fall, we met with those folks out in Hyattville, Wyoming. We've kind of taken a different approach. Some of the Select Water Committee members that are not on Select Water Committee anymore got involved over the last couple years in those discussions with those landowners and have had follow-up discussions, really taking a look at more of an integrated watershed approach and understanding these folks would be impacted. It's an off-channel reservoir that would be filled through an existing Anita ditch, and some modifications would need to be made to that potentially, either widening that ditch slightly or putting it into pipe. So I've had conversations with all the landowners that easements are still needed through. Those conversations went well. We're looking at some other mitigation ideas, such as some improvements of water management and fish passage on a ditch and a diversion associated with that ditch. Some efficiencies, I would say, with additional water management, and that would be through putting that Anita ditch into a pipe, as well as potential putting in some sprinklers, having some consideration of livestock watering and things like that. After those conversations, we have had correspondence with each one of those landowners since then. It sounds like that if we can come to an agreement on the details of those, that they're all willing to sign option agreements. So we're in a place now of making sure we understand there's a lot of different funding partners out there for these different types of projects. So we're making sure we shake the bushes on all that, understand when the funding announcements come out, when the applications can be put in for those federal programs, when awards are made, how much money that is, so then we can put the details together, either on what the percentage that those particular landowners might need to come up with on their own, and I guess our likelihood of getting the federal funding program or dollars, or if we're going to need to wrap that into the cost of the project. So I'm confident we can get to the finish line on this. It's just going to take a little bit more time to wrap those details into the options agreements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But haven't we been trying to get easements for that project for 5-10 years? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And they're still not there. I mean, does there come a point that like, wow, let's start over or whatever? Because it's been a long time. I mean, years and years and years and years trying to get easement, it's still not done.
Mr. Chairman, Senator French, it's been a couple years that we've been working on easements, I think, in earnest. We've been working on the project for a decade, from when it initially was just a, hey, we're experiencing a lot of drought up here, what can we do with the Water Development Commission program?
Follow up? Yeah. In my mind, a couple years is like 3.
That's probably
It's
accurate,
been
yeah.
more than that, hasn't it? Trying to get easements for that?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd say in earnest, we had to get through 50% of the design to actually know what those easements were going to look like specific. So we weren't getting additional lands that weren't really needed for the project, and what the alignment and everything was going to be, where the dam was going to sit and all that. So they have gone through mediation through the Department of Ag. I think having some of the legislators get involved and help us think outside the box a little bit on how we could fund this and some of the different types of ways where we can just not look at the benefit of the reservoir, because not all these landowners and the ones that are that we need easements through aren't below the reservoir, so they don't see the direct benefit of the reservoir. Now, there might be some potential for exchanges where they release water out in exchange for being able to take water out of priority upstream. So I think this latest idea of this integrated watershed approach, which would not only benefit these landowners, but also benefit the water quality in the reservoir, benefit the water quality in the stream, and so on and so forth, the yield of the reservoir, is fairly new. That was from probably early summer of 2025 when those discussions started, and then the follow-up has been since then. Okay, thank you.
Roll call vote on Senate File 70. Senator Driscoll?
Aye.
Senator French?
Aye.
Senator Garou?
Aye.
Senator Larson?
Aye.
And Chairman Salzar? Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes do pass on Senate File 70.
We have a meeting tomorrow and possibly Friday. And with that, we will stand adjourned.
Mr. Chairman.